I don't know if you guys could tell, it is 2:15 a.m. and I decided to do a little bit of a podcast clip here. I didn't upload anything today, so I figured I would do it now. I just didn't have time. The bagel machine is still down, and it's one of those things where being a small mom and pop, small business, this is where the kind of the stigma comes from, whereas if it goes wrong, you have to be there to correct it. The piece that broke is something that you just can't go to the store and get. So it is being manufactured as we speak, and it's part of the deal. But that brings me to my clip. When I was really struggling with the business, and you're talking early 2005 to 8, and I always remembered that I would always sleep in my office on the floor or on the flour bags. And I did that because I wanted that reminder to tell me that I could at any point get back to this point, meaning it'll take only a little bit and I could be sleeping on floors again. It'll take a little bit while I'll be sleeping on flour bags. It kept me humble to say, okay, just keep going. And it really was that way for a little bit. And that time it was the business was 24/7. We were pumping out a ton of bagels through the supermarkets and the universities. And it had all come to a crashing halt at 2008 at the time, prior to that whole thing happening. And it was just strange. And I think that I kind of grabbed from my boxing pedigree and from the experiences of saying, okay, you don't want to be sleeping on this floor anymore. And it was kind of engraved in my head that I'm not going to go there anymore. That helped me get through that stage. Everybody out there right now, everybody who's listening to this, everyone who just happens to pass by the YouTube shorts or whatever, you're all going through something. I go through something every day. Even now, I'm going through this situation here where the bagel machine's broke. I don't have the piece. I got to sit there and hand roll. My wife is home, by herself asking, oh, when are you coming home? That's difficult in itself. So, of course I want to be home. Of course I do. But this is part of the deal. This comes with it. And I would love to, find myself a happy place and say, hey, I don't have to be there, but this is what I love to do. So I put my time and effort into something you want to do, which again brings me to the podcast here. It's 2:30 a.m. and I'm doing this because I love doing this. I love talking to people. I love telling them, giving them the motivation that they need. They could be home scrolling through and looking through YouTube videos, and I pop up and say something that I could just affect one person. And it really reminds me back that time, the 2005, 2008 period, after the whole debacle with the banking crisis, and nearly bankrupt twice. That nearly bankrupted me twice. And I could remember the time where I decided that I would never put myself in a position anymore where I would do that. And it was, I had watched Diego Corrales versus Jose Luis Castillo. And Corrales had got knocked down a ton of times. It must have been 2 or 3 times. And, the fight was going to be over. But I can remember the ref counting 1, 2, 3. And he would always get up right at 9. Right? And just when you think it was over, he'd get up. And then he kept fighting, though. And then in the 12th round, he clipped him. Corrales clipped Castillo. Left hook. Drove him back to the ropes. And then Corrales jumped on him. Ended up referee stopping the fight, TKO round 12. And because Corrales had been down twice in that round. Twice. Got a point taken away for spitting out his mouthpiece even. So after I watched that fight, the one thing I've always been worried about is getting counted out. in the ring. I always was worried that I would ever have the ref standing over me counting, and getting knocked out. So I reverse engineered that and made it the motivation for me to get up in the morning when you didn't want to get up, when you were sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you just didn't want to be there. Because there are times when you own a small business, mom and pop business. I'm not talking small business. Small business is 250 employees and less. That's what's defined as. I'm talking mom and pop, 4, 5 people, 2 people, husband and wife. That's small business. That's mom and pop. So I use that motivation, that fight, for when I get up in the morning. I use it to this day. When the clock goes off, and my clock goes off at about 3:05 every morning, I act as if Mills Lane, who's a great referee when I was growing up, he just recently passed, and I would always picture Mills Lane going 1, 2, 3, and it gives me the motivation to say, get up. Just get up. Because then you got another day. Every day compounds to another day to get you closer to where you want to be. Everyone who's out there right now, who's going through stuff, I'm here to tell you that it's not here to stay. Don't get counted out. Get up, get through that day, because you live to fight another day. I've been through enough to say, whatever life throws at me, I will handle it. Whatever life throws at me, I will not get counted out. Now, I'm not saying that there hasn't been some crap thrown at me. And I'm certainly not saying that there won't be any more crap thrown at me, because there will. It could be in the next hour. But what I will say is this. I've never been counted out. And you should never be counted out. The only time that 100% it's over is if you don't beat the count. That's the only time it's over. So just when you feel like you can't get up, just when you feel like you can't go through one more day like this, beat the count. Do not let that ref count at 10. It'll be the best decision you ever made in your life. I know, speaking from experience. And remember, don't be envious about what I've accomplished in my life. Be inspired by what you can do in yours.